Hi there. So my name is Joanna, and I was thinking about setting up a GoFundMe for my niece Desiree, who was in a car accident. I'll actually show you a picture. She was in a car accident last week, and she totaled her vehicle. How she came out without any broken bones, I have no idea. There was definitely an angel riding with her. So Desiree bought the car herself, and because of their situation, it only had liability insurance. So she, obviously they're not going to be able to replace it. As I was praying about it, I was kind of like really thinking about whether or not I should do this. My sister's probably going to kill me. But the story really doesn't just stop at Desiree. So what I want to do is tell you a little bit about my sister Jen and her family and some of the things that they've gone through. My sister has been handed this deck of cards that isn't always in her favor. And most of it is at no fault of her own. So she has just been through some really crazy stuff, but she is the most amazing woman I probably have ever met. And she has perseverance, and she always has this big caring heart, and she's always putting other people first. So let me tell you her story. This is my sister. This is me and my sister that was celebrating her 40th birthday. So I'm actually going to take you way back, and it was about 15 years ago. Jen, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I just had this really odd feeling, and all I could think about was my sister. So I call her, and it was weird because I was getting a busy signal. Well, back then we had call waiting, and so I was like, I know Jen has call waiting. I don't know why it's busy. So I just kept calling, and maybe she's got 2 people on the line. I don't really know. Kept calling and calling and calling, and I could not get through. So in a panic, I call her neighbor, which it was actually a friend of mine, and I said, can you just go check on Jen? Like, I've been trying to call her, and I can't get through, and I have this really strange feeling. And so her friend says, oh my God, Joanna, Jen's house is on fire. And so I, get in my car and I try to get to my sister, and she's standing outside. She lived in a trailer, standing outside the trailer watching it burn. Now let me tell you what happened. So Jen, she lived in a 2-bedroom trailer, and she was a single mom of 4 kids at the time, all under the age of 5. So she slept on the couch, and the 2 kids had, or the 4 kids each had a bedroom. She had 2 boys, 2 girls, so that kind of worked out. So what had happened is Jen had woke up smelling smoke. So the first thing she did was went and grabbed the girls and grabbed them from their bedrooms and took them out and threw them in the yard. Probably not literally throwing them, but got them out of the house. She went back in to grab the 2 boys, and she was going to go out the back door, but something told her that she needed to go out the front. And thank God she did, because our dear Desiree, the one that was just in the accident, had come back into the house, and I think Des was 2, almost 3 at the time. So Jen was able to get all 4 of her kids out safely before the house completely burned, and it's a trailer, so it went up really quick. So thankfully, with all the outpouring of the community and for Walmart, where she worked then and still does, we were incredibly grateful for everything that they did for her and her family, and they were able to recover from that. So a couple years after that, Jen met the love of her life, Joe. And they never had a perfect relationship, what relationship ever is. But for the last 13 years, they've been on again, off again, more times on than off. And he loved her kids just like they were his own. And they were all super, super close. And even when things weren't really great with her and Joe, he was still her best friend. And no matter what happened, he always made sure that she was taken care of. Now, they never lived together. It was kind of, but, he just always made sure that she had everything that she needed. So 5 years ago, he gave her probably one of the most gifts anybody could give, and together they had James. I'll show you a picture of this sweet little family here. So James is 5 now, and so anyhow, even though Jen and Joe did not live together, so now she's a single mom of 5. Now, if you knew how much back child support my sister is owed from her first marriage, and I'm not looking to like bash him, it's pretty incredible. And I don't know how, she makes ends meet. Like, you know, we live in a house and both of us work and we have 2 incomes, and sometimes, you know, we're trying to figure things out. So Jen, after she had James, she was buying this house on land contract. Well, while she was living there, it was probably 3 years ago, Jen started having some health problems. So she was having extremely bad headaches, like the right side of her body was numb. We weren't really sure what was going on, so they had done some testing. I remember getting a call from her, and she was, you know, kind of freaking out, but they had found masses or lesions on her brain. And so they had taken her, they had wanted her to follow up with her neurologist, like, immediately. We weren't sure at this point, like, had no real, you know, like, there was tons of questions and no real answers. So we wanted to look into it. It was possible she was gonna have to have surgery. Like, they really had no clue. What they ended up deciding is that Jen was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And if you know anybody that has lived with MS, it can be extremely painful. And it's almost like sometimes it comes and goes, and she'll have like these weird relapses where, you know, like her eye doesn't open right, or the whole side is like weird, or like she can't move because it affects her muscles and the neurological part of it. She is taking some treatments, you know, and you have to give a shot every day, and it's pretty intense. So she was diagnosed with MS. Well, then 2 months later, we find out that she was buying her house on land contract, and we find out that the guy that he was buying it from wasn't paying the bank loan. So for the second time, that was not her fault. My sister and her kids were displaced from their house. So my husband and I offer them to come live with us. And so we had 3 adults and 9 kids living in our house, and it was probably one of my favorite times. Like, it was a lot, and I can't say that we always got along, but at dinner time, when we had to put 2 tables together to like feed us all, and we all still sat around the table, and I think it was really great lessons for all of our children about being giving and opening your house and really loving each other, and that feeling of family. So she stayed with us until, you know, like, she always did what I always call rob Peter to pay Paul, you know, like when you're a single mom trying to manage a household, and, you know, she relied on her credit cards to kind of get her through, because how else do you support 5 kids by yourself? Like, it's just incredible, right? It's not like she's got, you know, it's not like she's making 6 figures. Like, she's a hard worker for sure, and she's never been without a job, but, you know, it's hard. And anybody that's, you know, been a single parent knows that it's hard. And then to have 5 kids, and all 5 kids were like involved in something. So, well, not all 5, because James wasn't quite old enough yet, but all 4 of them, she made sure that they were in sports. She still does. They're in a sport every season. She is right there at the bleachers, you know, hooting and hollering for them. And even if they were at a wrestling tournament, she made sure that not only did she have, you know, fruits and veggies for her kids, but she was feeding the wrestling team too that needed it. So, like, she's just always giving out to everybody. So after she moved out of our house, you know, she was here for a little while. We wanted her to get caught up on things, and then she got into her own place, and she was doing really good. Well, in May, we got a phone call that Joe had passed away unexpectedly. And I think that's why James might be, like, more important to us now. Like, a baby's always important, but, you know, we didn't know then that we were being given this gift that was gonna, like, keep him, you know, Joe's spirit and liveliness with us through James. And so now, you know, my sister is like, she lost her best friend, and like they're just, I don't know, like, and even like financially he would be there to help her, like you know, he was her rock, aside from probably from me. But now, you know, James is only 5, and he's grown up without a dad. And so Jen works 2 jobs now to try to make things meet, you know, and not to mention taking care of all the kids. I'm going to show you this picture. This is from our last MS walk. There's my sister's crew and all her children, and she's just an amazing mom. So when, you know, back to Desiree, like, her having an extra set of wheels, that helped my sister out, and it gave her, you know, somebody else to help take the kids to practice or to get them to work, because the kids work to try to help too, you know, like, So it wasn't really just about Desiree losing a vehicle. Like, that was actually an extra lifeline for my sister and everything that they've been through. But I'm going to tell you the icing on the cake. Jen, you know, like I said, she's trying to do all this on her own, and we have a cousin that's going through some things. So my sister is actually fostering their 6-month-old baby, and you know, like, because she doesn't have enough on her plate already, now she's taking care of somebody else's, and like, her heart is just so big. And in times when she could have gave up with all that stuff going on, and you know, and that's just some of it. Like, sometimes I'm like, God, how much more can you give her? Like, I just don't. I know she's strong, and she gets through, and she always does, and that's probably why she's gonna be mad for me doing this. But if people could be more giving like Jen, like when she's got, you know, she's struggling to make her own ends meet, and now she's still trying to figure out how to give back to other people. That's totally incredible. And she's just such an amazing woman. So if you can give, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Like, I just wanted to kind of put her story out there and just talk about how she truly is such an amazing woman, and anything we can do to kind of give them a little helping hand, maybe get Desiree back in a vehicle. So Jen, you know, like I said, she's working 2 jobs and now taking care of a baby as well as her own, and their sports are going to be starting soon, and school, and you know, she's got to figure out not only the time to get them there, but the transportation now with 1 vehicle, and it's tough. So God bless you guys, and I hope you have a terrific day.